Alright, so today we're going to check out the 2023 RZR Pro R. I've had this unit a little over a year now. Bought it new. This is the RZR Pro R Ultimate. So we have the live valve Fox shocks. Basically what that means is you can change the shocks on the fly to like soft or race mode. You can stiffen or soften it. That also gives you the what I call like the OSHIT button there. Basically you hit that and for like 3 seconds it stiffens the shocks. So if you're coming up to a big dip, you know, you won't sit there and bottom it out and, you know, crush the dip. So that's nice. I've used it a couple times. It works well. The only thing I have aftermarket on this unit is the beadlock race line wheels and 35-inch tires. This is a unit that you can throw at 35s. I think some people even had luck with 37s without having to mess with any clutches, tuning, any of that stuff. No gear reduction. None of that's needed on the RZR Pro R. So yeah, the wheels and tires, and then probably I would say the only, unless you're really hitting stuff like crazy hard, the biggest or the weakest link on the stock Pro Rs is the tie rods. So they're like only like half this size. These are upgraded S3 tie rods. I let my girlfriend drive one time. I really shouldn't have to explain much more than that, but anyways, she hit a stump that wasn't even really on the trail. She clipped it. Let's talk about that for a minute. Width, this is a Y girl. Polaris, they say 74 inches, you know, factory specs. I'm going to tell you right now, if I bring the tape measure out and I measure from edge to edge right now where the suspension settled out, you're at 79 inches all day. Maybe 80 inches if it's, you know, sagging a little bit more. The only other thing that's not stock, here's the stock pipe. It's got some good weight to it. I think it's like maybe 12 pounds or something like that. And then I've got this RPM sport pipe, and this thing is extremely loud. So all it does is just do like one little loop and has a little bit of an expansion chamber, and then you're straight to the headers. And so I had a Pro XP before this. I got out of it to clear some debt for buying a house. Got the house and wanted to get into something else. I saw one of these sitting on the showroom, and it's just, if you're lazy like me, I don't like to buy something where I have to put 20 grand into it to get where this machine is. This machine's already there. It's overpriced even for what it is, but this is an extremely reliable machine. I've never had any issues out of it. I mean, you can thrash this thing around real hard. I mean, this thing is just built unbelievably solid. Already has high clearance rear radius rods. Like I said, if you're really not hitting anything like too extreme, you really don't have to upgrade these. They're pretty beefy from the factory, very thick. Axles, great. Haven't snapped any of those. I put it in some positions where I think some other units probably would have snapped an axle. It has a dedicated rear differential versus most units like the Pro XP. The rear end is part of the engine drivetrain. You do have a full like car alternator in here that's driven by this belt underneath this cover. Serviceability is amazing on this machine too. Your oil filter's right there, well protected too, by the way. Dipstick right there. You got coolant up there. Take this, it's 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4. This bed easily pops right out, and then you have full access to the top of the engine. If you need to change spark plugs, put the oil in, that's up there as well. So I would say this is probably one of the most easiest machines out there also to service. Your suspension is about, I would round it up to about, it's about 30 inches front and rear. I mean, when you jack this thing up and let the suspension droop, it's crazy how much suspension travel there is. I mean, it's unreal, and you can feel that in the ride too. The ride on this thing is so smooth. I mean, it just eats anything you throw at it. Your rear trailing arms, extremely beefy on these. They're so solid. I don't think there's really any reason to upgrade these other than if you want to get some better clearance. I would say that's probably one of the drawbacks of this machine. You can see I definitely scrape pretty good on it. It would definitely help to have a little bit of clearance here. These do drag and hit, but it slides over stuff real easy. Factory skid plate is just, you know, some chintzy thin plastic. It's nothing crazy, but I haven't upgraded the skid plate at all, and I've slid over things. Not, you know, I haven't really abused it too hard, but it slides everything just fine. You don't have so much protection here in the firewall, if you want to call it that. I would say if you're using one of these long term, you're going through some sketchy stuff to get some plates here, because I've seen some really nasty videos of other machines getting some sticks and stuff through there, and that's just crazy dangerous. Like I said, tie rods, you want to upgrade these. That's the only like real weak link on this machine. I don't think we need to really talk about the A-arms. They are absolutely perfect in my eyes, I guess, from the factory. I mean, like I said, maybe if you're doing like a Baja 1000 competition or something, maybe you might need something a little more than that. But the average or even a little bit above average rider, this thing is built from the factory just to go out there and just tear stuff up and not go home with broken parts, unless you're a terrible driver, like my girlfriend. So I don't really know too much to really show you on the outside. One thing about this unit versus the Pro XP is your bed space right here is pretty shallow compared to the Pro XP. If I was keeping this long term, I would probably just get one of those trunks here, give me just an extra bit of storage, or maybe like a spare wheel rack here. This area here is a little different on the Pro XP. On the Pro R, you have these guards here. Again, if you're getting one of these units, the frog skin, I think I've got just a little hole right there. Don't pressure wash directly on it, like close to it, or to the sides. These can peel off really easily with pressure washer. Just, you know, quick wash, it'll come right off. But yeah, that's pretty much the outside. I guess one other thing that's notably different on this than the Pro XP, you have this, I call it a snout. So these are functioning air ducts for the CVT, which is actually on this unit. So up here you have your air filter, and then right behind the driver's seat in this area, you just pull the seat out and you have access to the CVT belt. So on this, it's going this way versus on a lot of machines, it's usually this way in this area. Not too hard to access back here. I've seen people with belts lasting anywhere between 2,000 to 4,000 miles. Just depends on how you run the machine, how you are on the throttle, different terrain you're on. Different trainings stress the belts out different ways. But I'm at 738 miles on this machine. Never a belt issue. I've been in high in some situations where I probably should have been in low, and you've been able to smell the belt working a little hard there. Never had any issues with overheating, engine, or in the belt area that I know everything's worked perfectly. The shifter's a little stiff sometimes, but I think it's a little better than the Pro XP I had. So we'll give this thing a start. Let you guys hear it with the RPM pipe on it. kind of show you around like the infotainment. Believe the premium and the ultimate both come with ride command. It's pretty good. Over here you just have your lights off, low beam, high beam, and then on this machine you have 2-wheel, and then it's like basically 3-wheel open all-wheel drive, and then all the way up is all 4 locked. Right here is where you switch the suspension settings, the suspension mode, and then right here this switch is basically your throttle mode is what I would call it. If you put it into rock mode, the throttle is it's a lot smoother engagement, to where if you put it on like sport or the race, the throttle's very snappy, which is fun with the exhaust on the sportier modes there. Lock up 3 seconds button for the suspension. You can make this button a shortcut for whatever you want. I have it set to the rear camera. And then also if you hold it for like 3 seconds, it goes to the next song, which they don't have like a next button for the music, so you have volume up and down, play or pause. So that was my solution for a next song button, was holding this and setting it like that. So give it a start. So there you can see the exhaust is pretty obnoxious. Even on the stock pipe, I mean, it's not near like that, but it's still decently rowdy with a stock pipe. Here you have a connection there to get into the computer. There's my socket there for the wheels, aftermarket wheels. So you have a cubby hole there, cubby hole here. You have a little tiny cubby hole here with a 12 volt. And you got another 12 volt here. And then you have one little storage compartment here on this side. Passenger side seat is fixed. Driver's side, there's a lever down here. If you're a little taller, a little shorter, you can adjust the seat forward or backwards. If you're a taller guy, I think this cab is a lot more comfortable and better fitting to a taller person versus like a Can-Am X3. I love the way the cabin feels on the RZR Pro XP or the Pro R or Turbo R chassis. Up here you can cycle through your odometer, trip, volts, engine hours, and engine temp. You get a little bit more gauge options here. I think you can go through and change these to whatever you want. You can see what data you want to see here. Let's see what else. Music, Bluetooth works pretty good. I do get some clipping with these stock speakers. I only have just the dash speakers. You can go all the way up to the Rockford Fosgate like stage 5 or 10,000 whenever it comes with a subwoofer and everything. GPS is really nice. If you go out and do a ride, it'll track your wherever you went. It's good for if you get lost and you need to backtrack a little bit. It works good for that. You can set waypoints. I use that at some parks. Connects to your phone. You're not going to be able to do any talking on the phone with this thing, especially with the pipe. But yeah, that's pretty much the main tour of this thing. 739 miles. And I've enjoyed every bit of those miles with this machine. It hasn't given me really one issue. Resale on these is terrible. I bought this thing with taxes and just all the fees and everything out the door, was around 40 grand or 39 and some change. I'm selling it today for 26,000. Easy transaction. I could probably hold out for 27 or 28 maybe. It's super clean, low miles. But if you want to sell one of these quick, you're going to be in the $25,000 to $27,000 range. So just be mindful of that when you go to buy one of these. Make sure it's something that you want to get into for a long haul. But if you want to buy a machine that is already built quite well from the factory, even the cage, this is one of the best cages. I mean, obviously a custom cage is going to be better, but from the factory, especially like the strength of this being like arched like this is a really tough cage. You could roll this thing on a pretty light to moderate roll, and you're probably going to be fine. If you roll it hard, you're probably going to have to put a new cage on it. But I think you're going to be pretty decently protected. From the factory, you do get these, I think they call these the Click 6. These are retractable harnesses. You don't have the chintzy little lap belt. But yeah, if you guys are interested in getting a machine, this is definitely going to be high on the list, because this is the best machine out there in my opinion. Compared, I even like this better than the Mav R. But as far as like, this is way ahead of the Pro XP and the X3 from a reliability and strength standpoint anyways. Speed, the X3 in this is a little bit faster, but not by much. I've dragged against my friends in this. I mean, obviously this is stock, so 225 horse, no turbo, no tuning or anything. But if you tune one of these, or people are even throwing turbochargers on these and getting 350 to 500 horsepower with just a turbocharger kit and some tuning. If you want a platform to, be way ahead of the game, and if you spent 15 grand on making this thing fast and more stout versus 15 grand on a Pro XP, you're going to be, just probably 3 to 4 times ahead on this machine than you would be spending 15 grand on the Pro XP. So that's something to keep in mind too. This is a really good buy if you're really into side-by-siding, and that's for sure what you do. These guys have spoiled me. I got these after the side-by-side. These are road legal. This is not. This can be road legal in some other states, so it could be more beneficial to other people. I'm in Virginia. I'd have to do the whole loophole and stuff. I'm not messing with all that. These, I can hop on them from the garage, go up in the mountains from here in the Blue Ridge Mountains. Hit so many trails and take them anywhere. They're fit on a smaller trailer. Just logistically speaking, these are a lot more practical for me, but that's a different story. But I'm not selling this at all because it's a bad machine. This is the best side-by-side I've ever driven and owned. It's hands down one of the best in the market. You can be biased for Can-Am or Kawasaki, Honda, or whatever you like. If you're a realist and you actually know how these things drive, the reliability of them, how strong they are, that this is one of the best. I'd probably say top 2, top 3 machines on the market for the money. So If you guys have any questions, let me know. I'll answer them best I can. This thing's being picked up in about 30 minutes. Cash money. And on to different things from here. I'm going to keep the bikes, and we're looking to spend less time on trails and get more time on the lake. So stay tuned for future videos. I'm probably going to do some videos here on the bikes here in the near future. And as always, please like and subscribe if you can. And yeah, use Amsoil in all of your stuff.